Yes, guys. You're locked into another episode of the Red Sea podcast. And tonight we have your preview show Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates tomorrow night, the second leg of the semi-cup final. Will Liverpool progress, or will it be Arsenal that go through to the final to play against Chelsea? We'll find out all the juicy gossip, all the ins and outs on the other side of this intro.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Got Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Yes, guys, and we're back on your TV screens, computer screens, mobile phone screens, iPad screens, Mac screens, whatever not you watch us on. We are here live and direct for another episode of the Red Sea podcast. And tonight it is the Arsenal versus Liverpool preview in the semi-cup of the Carabao Cup. And who is going to progress through to the finals against Chelsea? I've got my co-host here, my main man, the co-founder, SS. How you doing, bro?
Co-founder, I like that.
Yeah, that's all right.
My baby.
Yeah, it is.
It absolutely is. No, it's a pleasure to be on the channel and going forward. We had a lot of videos lately, so it's a little bit of a different flavour. Transfer Tuesday, AFCONs, preview games. We've got an Emirates background today as well, so it's feeling good in here. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because arguably you'd still back Liverpool to be the favourites for this game. And the form that Chelsea are in, I think either of these teams would back themselves to have a good chance in the final at Wembley as well. So been a while since we've been in a domestic final. I think it was 2016 against Man City in this competition. We lost on pens.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
I think Coutinho missed a penalty in the shootout, which was unfortunate when Klopp was in that kind of run of losing 5 or 6 finals in a row, Dortmund and Liverpool combined. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the show, looking forward to the game tomorrow night. And yeah, going to talk all about it on the show tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an interesting one, especially because of the result that we had in the last game. It was a 0-0, and the game was kind of sort of dreadful. Killed off. Yeah, it was like basketball end to end, and then the game kind of caught a death when the red card happened to Xhaka. Yeah. Arsenal decided they were going to just camp out two banks to try and stop us breaking them down, and it done exactly that. We're unable to penetrate, which was frustrating from a Liverpool perspective. Guys, just so you're aware, we will be bringing you the latest scores from all around the Premier League tonight. 2 games showing. Currently, we have got Brentford and Manchester United 0-0 at Brentford, and currently Leicester lead Spurs 2-1. Patson Daka with the opening goal, followed by Harry Kane to equalise, and then James Maddison on 72 minutes goes out and grabs a goal to make it 2-1 against Spurs. Just quickly on Spurs, you listen to all the gas and if we win all our games, then we're going to be up there and that. Well, you started off absolutely sensational, haven't you, mate? I mean, is Conte having sort of a bit of bad luck? Has he bitten off more you can chew in terms of the way that Spurs are poised at the moment, or are they a sleeping giant that he can awaken?
It's a great question. I was quite surprised when he went there, because I don't really feel that they're a team on the up. I feel that they've been treading water for, ever since that Champions League final against us. It's been one direction, unfortunately, and that's been down. So I'm quite surprised at the lack of transfer activity in January, because he was linked heavily in the summer. He didn't come for whatever reason, whether it was a disagreement with how many backroom staff he could bring or how much the budget would be. And, they went for the BTEC Mourinho in Nuno Espirito Santo, and clearly it didn't work. They had to pay him all this money to get rid of him anyway. And then bring in Conte, 4 months later than they would have done. So I was expecting, if he finally agreed to come in, because Conte is a winner. He goes to Chelsea, he goes to Inter, he goes to Juventus, he goes to places that are going to win the biggest trophies available. So, you look at Tottenham's team tonight, Ben Davies, Tanganga, Emerson Royale, Sanchez, Skip, Winks, Højbjerg, Mora. It's bang average. It really, really is. So I would have expected, not necessarily £100 million to be spent, but they've signed no one. surely Conte would have said, let's get to January. Give me this player and this player, 30 million on him, 20 million on him. I'll get through to the summer, and then I need 150 mil, and to keep Harry Kane, and then we might start to challenge for the top 4. Because, like you said, if we win all our games in hand, we're going to be above Chelsea. Well, you can't even beat Leicester, who have been god awful.
Yeah.
They've got Arsenal in one of the games in hand. I wouldn't back them to win that one either. They always seem to fold in that fixture. So, yeah, it's an interesting one with Conte. If it doesn't happen and false promises were made by Levy, he will not be sticking around. I guarantee you that. If he gets into the start of next season and they've not had the window he wants, he will be off pretty quickly, I think.
I totally agree. I think they're in a difficult position. They spent a bit of money under Nino. Players like who did they sign? They signed a few, didn't they? Under Nino to try and get them to play in an okay
Emerson Royale was one of them.
Yeah, Emerson Royale. So Nino spent a little bit of money. So I'm not surprised that they haven't gone into the market in this window. I think summer will be where you'll see some change from them, if at all. And you're right. If he doesn't get what he wants, or they don't get remotely close to what he wants, he will be off. He's not going to stick around, because for a manager of that caliber, a manager of that ability, there's plenty teams out there which will be able to attract him. I mean, Spurs on the attack now. Harry Kane just messes it up.
Might end up back at Chelsea with the Tuchel rumours.
you never again. I thought that today. You never know. I mean, at the moment, looking at the game, it's very scrappy. It's end-to-end. Spurs have currently got hold of the ball, and they're attacking through Ben Davies. Currently, he's bringing the ball out, but they just look starved of ideas. I mean, Leicester have been the better team in terms of what I've just seen. 86 minutes played. In the other game, Elanga's scored for Manchester United, so it's currently 1-0 against Brentford for Manchester United. So there's goals in the other game. Anyway, whilst it's always good to keep you guys up to date with the scores up and down the country, we have got some official business to take care of. The most important thing to take care of is Liverpool versus Arsenal. So we kind of discussed the head-to-heads somewhat because of obviously what happened in the last game. There isn't really much to go into regards to heads-to-heads, because we kind of know what they are. We are where we are with those. It was a very boring game, so to speak, because of everything that happened. As we spoke about the red card, it wasn't great. I really think we should get on to the main topic. It's the Arsenal COVID crisis, or is it an injury crisis? So Arsenal, very good place to start. So Arsenal had 2 COVID cases, which caused the London derby to be postponed. So ultimately, they've had a week's rest. So, I mean, are we wrong to speculate as Liverpool fans to sit here and go, they're up to something here? Because we had however many false positives and all of this bollocks, but what separates us from them is the question.
No, I agree. We spoke about it recently, didn't we? When the shoe's on the other foot, it completely flips round, doesn't it? When you're on the receiving end of it, you're like, give them all the blame, and they're trying to get the game cancelled. And for some reason, they started bringing up AFCON, and I was thinking, well, Mane and Salah wouldn't be back anyway. It's only Partey who's coming back, because obviously Ghana have gone out. But I think this game probably comes too soon for him. But I remember watching a bit of AFTV, a bit of Red Men when the first game was postponed. We popped on for a quick special show as well, just to break the news, because we were both available. And lead judges and Robbie, and one of the other guys from AFTV were discussing it and tearing into Liverpool. To be fair, they were saying, "Oh, it's ridiculous. Games should go running scared. I just want to try to get the game off. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's Klopp, it's Liverpool, it's different rules." And, like you say, false positives, yes. But if you've got 15 positive cases, results, you don't know they're false positives until the next couple of days. So, you don't go into a game and say, I've got 15 positive cases. They might be false. So, sod it. Let's just play the game anyway, regardless. Let's see what happens. Yeah. No one does that. So that's what separates us. And actually, the thing that we were getting accused of about, we never say who actually was infected with COVID. Actually, we did. We said it's
Yeah.
Trent, rest were false. Who's the
Yeah.
Arsenal player that's got COVID this time? I've not heard anything. There's
Yeah,
two
I agree.
players that have got cases. They've not said a word. It's been very hush hush. And I'll be honest, I was amazed that North London derby was postponed. Genuinely amazed, because they've got Xhaka suspended. That's football. That happens. They've got some injuries. Yeah, haven't we all? Two COVID cases isn't enough for a club the size of Arsenal to not play a match. They've loaned out Kolasinac. They've loaned out Maitland-Niles. They've loaned out Pablo Mari.
Yeah.
What are you doing? How is that allowed? You've let 3 players go. You've got a suspension. You've got injuries. You've got 2 COVID cases. I'm sorry, but that's what separates it. That's not enough to call off a game, in the Premier League. And they can say, "Well, you called ours off," but it's very, very different circumstances. 2 COVID cases versus 14, whether or not they were false or not, I think is the difference. And for me, if it was such a crisis, how can they be ready to go 4 days later?
Yeah, I agree. And also, how can they be ready to let more players go on loan, or sell more players? Rumours today linking Aubameyang with a move to a foreign club.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but all of a sudden they're struggling for players due to injuries. Make it make sense is the question.
The rules of what you said are being looked at, aren't they now?
Yes. So interesting enough, two things to consider. The Premier League are considering sort of adjusting the rules in terms of isolation. In terms of suspected COVID cases and how that works. And has that kind of come? Is it sort of like a little bit too much too late?
Potentially, I think in good faith they started to call off the games, because if you think all the way back to March 2020 when COVID was first really on the scene in this country. I mean, I remember Mikel Arteta was the first kind of known player or manager to actually come out with COVID positive. And their game against Man City was postponed, and it was the first time a match had been postponed for something other than for weather. It was like, oh, COVID, oh, a virus. We've had to cancel the game, or he's going to have to miss. A manager's not going to be there for a strange reason. But they've done it in good faith. COVID has definitely peaked and come down, and they look at the matches and they say, fair enough. If you've got this many COVID cases, it's extraordinary circumstances. The game, you have no option but to postpone the game. If you have a breakout in your entire squad, if the training facilities have to be closed, there's no way that you can fulfill that fixture because of health and safety. But like we say, you've now got teams that have pushed it for a competitive advantage. They've really taken the piss out of it, to be brutally honest. And I put Burnley in that conversation as well. I put Leicester in that conversation.
Yeah, massively.
Teams have taken the mick out of it, really. Teams like Leeds have got on with it. Teams like Liverpool have got on with it. We've tried to postpone the Arsenal game because of a major breakout. United had to cancel a couple of games for a genuine reason. But at some point, every single game, every single week, there's a game getting postponed. It's Burnley, Watford. We're going to be playing this season until July if this carries on.
By this rate, yeah. And
so,
just quickly,
go for it.
Just quickly, Manchester United are now 2-0 up against Brentford. A goal coming from Mason Greenwood, the assist coming from Bruno Fernandes. It's a counter attack. They've nicked the ball in transition and they've just flooded forward. And Bruno has probably done the best thing he's done all season and squared a fucking ball. And giving it to Greenwood simply for a tap in. Manchester United lead 2-1 against Brentford.
2-0, yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2-0, excuse me, against Brentford.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so no, I agree. Like you say, teams have ramped it up and started to get games called off for, nothing. Imagine before COVID came out, a team, postponing a game because they got too many injuries in their squad. Give me a break. Seriously?
Yeah.
You start the season with 23 players, and you've got under 23s that you can promote that don't have to be included in that 23 that you can include in that squad. So even teams like Burnley have got 30 players available for 11 spaces. So if COVID isn't the reason that you are lacking 18 players, then you play the game. I don't care if you've got AFCON. I don't care if you've got injuries and suspensions. That's what football is, I'm afraid. So they have to change the rules. There has to be, a certain number of players, not necessarily this is what we've got available from everything. If you've got, how many COVID cases do you have? Genuinely, if you have 2 or 3, you get on with it.
Spurs have equalised, and Spurs have equalised. Burgoyne sticks it past Schmeichel after a turn-down penalty appeal as well in the box. There was a bit of afters between him and Sayuncu in the box as well, because it looks like he went down quite cheaply. But he's got his revenge. It's a nice bit of play between him and Harry Kane. Lucas Moura involved as well. Good build-up play. Ball over the top to the fullback, which I think is Doherty, is it? And then Burgoyne slots it away. So bit of a scrappy finish in the box as well. But the build-up play from Spurs, so it comes over from Højbjerg. I would assume that's Doherty, number 2. Yeah, it's Doherty. Good control on the chest. Sort of plows into Sayuncu and Burgoyne sticks it away 2-2 to Spurs. So Leicester having another capitulation on the pitch. 95th minute. Wow. Conte is celebrating, going absolutely mad. Of course he is. He's going nuts.
Celebrating the draw at Leicester. Wow.
Well, yeah, how the mighty have fallen. Champions League finalists 2 years ago. Never mind, we move.
But yeah, just to finish off on that point, I think the COVID case needs to be the number.
Oh, Spurs are in again. Spurs are in again. Spurs are in again. Oh, it's 3-2.
Let's go.
Oh, Conte's gone absolutely mental.
No way.
Burgoyne scored again. 3-2 to Spurs.
Yeah, what a turnaround.
96 minutes played. That's game over. The goalkeeper has ran the full length of the pitch. Hugo Lloris has won the full length of the pitch. Mate, from the kickoff, Telemans runs through the middle.
Wow.
Oh, and he gives the ball away so cheap, and the press is weak. Harry Kane through ball. Burgoyne's fully on side. Outpaces Sayuncu. Round Schmeichel like he wasn't even there, and he's just slotted it past him. Oh my, look.
What mate, he's finish to that game.
He's literally gone round him, like just sent him, and he's tried to. That Schmeichel's nowhere, and he's just knocked it in off the far post and in. Do you know what? It feels even better. Like, do you know what? I hate Spurs. I'm not a really big Spurs fan. I'm not Spursy is the word, but what I am is dramatic, and I like to see these end goals. Yeah, I love to see these moments where games turn on their head. And Conte's gone absolutely mental on the touchline. Like the emotion, Schmeichel's going nuts.
Wow.
Schmeichel's going nuts. Burgoyne comes up with 2. Literally, he came on the pitch 20 minutes ago, and he's bagged 2 goals. Yeah, and you want to sell him. Roger's face is stunned. Like he's seething, and it's over. 3-2 to Spurs. So we were sat here absolutely ruining Spurs, saying how, if you win all your games and you're in, listen,
and they have
humble pie.
I mean, if there's anyone that's more of a bottler than Spurs, it's Leicester this season, isn't it? Good Lord.
Yes.
How many games have they thrown away this season? Genuinely outrageous.
Oh my God. Burgoyne is running around like it's his birthday. Harry Kane is celebrating with the fans. But no, like, look, you have to respect it. James Maddison is head in hands thinking, how has that just happened? I know how that's just happened. You're shit. That's how that's just happened.
No, I mean, 27 shots to 13 for Spurs. You wouldn't say they don't deserve it, but wow, what a dramatic way to win a game.
Exactly. Literally in the last couple of minutes of the game. So it's 3-2.
Wow. Jeez, no, just to finish off on that, yeah. When the rule was you have to have 13 players available and and a goalie or whatever, I think we need to change the rules to if you have 5 or 6 COVID cases, whatever the number might be, fair enough. There's a we have a look at how important those players are and make the decision. But to be fair, you can't keep postponing these games, so something needs to change.
I totally agree with you, and I think something will come to a head. And I think the Premier League are looking at this, and they're looking at the fixture calendar slowly getting congested with these games. And like you said, we're going to be end up playing into freaking July before you know it. And also a season or in a year when we're going to have a Winter World Cup as well. It's just not sustainable from that perspective. So the Premier League are eager to get these games finished and get them done pretty quickly. I think it also plays into the fact that government are looking at changing the isolation rules and COVID rules as well. The rumours are, and what we're seeing in the press and in the BBC at the moment, is that potentially as of March, isolation will be only advisory. It won't be mandatory. So I think that's going to open up a can of worms in terms of how these teams go about their business and this kind of gamesmanship that we're seeing. And it brings us nicely onto that. Is this gamesmanship from these oppositions, and this is Liverpool included, are we looking at these games and going, can't field our best 11? Maybe we should try and go for a postponement under the grounds of COVID, because two positive tests based on the squad size that you have does not constitute a postponement of a fixture. I appreciate that Liverpool had 14 false positives, but you've got to be safe than sorry to a degree. And again, was that a bit of gamesmanship on Liverpool's part as well?
Obviously, we're going to be called biased, aren't we? But as I say, if you have to stick to the facts. That's the only thing you can do. Take the bias out of it. If we've got 14 positive cases, we have to put a postponement request in. We have to. Yes, it came out they were false. Yes, it makes you look a little bit silly. But the fact of the matter was, we believed that the majority of our first team were out with COVID, and we had to cancel training and close the facilities. So gamesmanship, I wouldn't say so in that case. However, the Arsenal game against Spurs, a lot of the Burnley ones as well are, because every week you're going to have someone not available. Someone's got a knock. So when do you ever have your best 11 100% fitness over a season, especially at this period of the season? It's very, very rare. And like we mentioned, teams like Liverpool, yes, we're kind of in this position now where first is realistically not going to really happen. We're not going to not finish in the top 4. So much of a muchness. Yes, we want to do as close as we can to Manchester City, but we're probably going to finish second, aren't we? Third if we capitulate, but second looks pretty damn likely. But teams like Burnley, the difference between getting relegated and staying in this league could be a postponement and playing with a couple of extra players in this game. Burnley versus Watford is huge. Whoever wins that game will fancy themselves to have a go at staying up, because it's so tight down there. So if Burnley think, we're missing Cornet, we're missing 2 or 3 players, and if this gets postponed and played in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be a stronger team, then why would they not try and get it postponed? The worst that they're going to say is no. So I 100% agree with you. It is gamesmanship at the moment, and that's why the COVID rules have to change.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just quickly on the Brentford and Man United game. Man United still lead that game 2-0. Cristiano Ronaldo has been substituted, and they've brought Harry Maguire on. And interestingly, as Harry Maguire's come onto the pitch, he hasn't taken the captain's armband from Bruno Fernandes. Are we potentially going to see a change of the guard in terms of captaincy at Manchester United? We will see. So that brings us nicely on to the next part of the show in terms of agenda. I mean, it's a tough one because Liverpool struggled to break down 10-man Arsenal.
Yeah.
Mane and Salah are away at the African Cup of Nations, with Salah winning today in his last fixture. Mane obviously through to the next round as well, which was kind of a foregone conclusion. We thought those two would go through.
Yeah.
Where on earth are the fucking goals coming from? Because we lacked that killer instinct. We failed to break down a 10-man Arsenal. So who is going to deliver these goals? Harvey Elliott back in first team training. This fixture has definitely come too soon for him. Thiago coming back into training in as of next week as well, but probably won't be ready to play until after the international break, in the February international break as well. I mean, we look at who can provide these goals. Origi injured as well. I just don't know, because Jota and Bobby, and rightly said from you, Ali, big up yourself.
Just going to say the same.
They need to start producing, because this is a very, very good opportunity to get into a final where, from a selfish perspective, it's Tuchel versus Klopp. I want the master to put this pretender to bed.
It'd be very nice.
Oh, 100%. Full strength Liverpool versus full strength Chelsea. Come on. There's only one winner, surely.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I mean, like you say, where would the goals come from? 3-0 against Brentford at the weekend. Fabinho, Chamberlain, Minamino on the score sheet. Three unlikely goal scorers, really. They're not very prolific. So it's time for other players to start contributing now, not just in performances, but in goals and assists as well. And Bobby and Jota are the two obvious ones, aren't they? They're two of the front four that you expect to turn up, you expect to score goals. But I think that the problem with those two is Bobby is very much a creator for Mane and Salah. And Mane and Salah are very much creator for Jota goals. That's kind of where he gets most of his success from. A cross from one of them two, a cutback, a header, a rebound from a shot from a Salah or a Mane cutting in. Jota's always on, the fox in the box. And without those two, the wingers are either him, and rather than him being central, or it's Minamino or it's Chamberlain. And these aren't players that can cut inside and shoot at goal very often. They're more wingers, get to the byline, cross it in, sideways passes, and we rely a lot of our crosses on Robbo and Trent. And when you've got someone that's right-footed on the right or left-footed on the left, they kind of get in the way of Robertson and Trent, because they're looking to pick up the same positions and do the same crosses. And realistically, you've got Bobby Firmino in the box against 3 defenders, 2 defenders, and 5 defenders sometimes against Arsenal last week. So that's why, just absolutely, twatting the crosses in, 30 crosses a half, and expecting goals, and keep trying the same thing over and over again and getting the same results and expecting something different is a little bit frustrating to watch as a fan. And that's all we did. We just kept trying the same thing. It didn't work. Yes. But Klopp, even in his press conference, said, I told the dad to just keep putting it in. It might happen. It might work. It might get a deflection, all these things. And it didn't. And it was never going to work. And once you've got a back 5, Arsenal got the Xhaka red card. Cedric Suarez got injured in the first half as well. So Chambers came on, Holding came on for Nketiah. They went, like you said, a back 5 with 4 in front of that pretty much. And, all we did was put crosses in, and we were outnumbered every single time. We didn't have any of those Mane, Salah through balls over the top to look at, because we don't have those current kind of players in the team. So we need to find a different way of playing without Mane and Salah for this game to get through to the final, because Jota and Firmino don't work in the same way. Yeah, maybe we go. Maybe we should try a 5-3-2. Why don't we play Matip, Konate, Van Dijk, Trent and Robertson as really, really far wingers up, Bobby and Jota as a front 2. So now you're crossing the ball into 2 strikers, not 1. Something like that might be worth looking at. But we're very stubborn. We play 4-3-3, same tactics, no matter who's available. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've had periods last season where we went 6 games in a row without winning a game, lost 6 games at home in a row, because we just kept trying the same thing. It was so predictable. Everybody knew what to do. Park the bus, get 1 goal on the counter-attack, whether that's Burnley, whether that's Fulham, whether that's Chelsea. It worked every single week until we had to try and change our game up. So, yeah, I agree. Jota and Bobby are the obvious ones, but we're not going to win this game unless we change tactics from last Thursday, because it was shocking. And at least the game can be decided on the night. There's 5 substitutes. There's an extra sub in extra time if we need it. If it go, or it might even be straight to pens in the Carabao Cup. I'm not sure, but at least there's going to be a winner. It can't be as boring as last time.
Yeah, I mean, drama in the Brentford and Manchester United game. It looks as though Marcus Rashford has just scored in that fixture, but I'm probably more fixated on what is going on the bench between Ronaldo and Rangnick. It looks like he's had to have a word with Cristiano, because he seems very disgruntled that he was taken off, and he's been very vocal on the bench ever since being substituted for Maguire. But the substitution seems to have paid off, because Manchester United are 3-0 up. Yeah, Marcus Rashford with one of those trademark finishes.
About time he scored a goal.
Do you know what? I've got a soft spot for Marcus Rashford. I actually like Marcus Rashford.
I think we all do after his off the field stuff.
Yeah, not even just from the off the field stuff. He's humble. He's hungry. He's a talented individual. You can't deny it. But I just think his career at Manchester United is very stop-start. Injuries are always an issue for him. But yeah, look, they're focusing on the Rangnick conversation with CR7 now as well. I think he's obviously had to have a word with him, say, look, like, I brought you off because you weren't fucking doing enough. And now, obviously, they're 3-0 up. So 3-0 from Manchester United.
Brentford having a terrible time.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Continue. I rudely interrupted.
No, you're fine. No, just saying, like you say, Ali's confirmed extra time and penalty. So there's plenty of subs to happen. But, you look at the squad, when you're missing a few key players, suddenly that bench doesn't look quite as strong, because the players that are usually there are actually in the 11 for this game. So interesting to see what kind of lineup he goes with. I would imagine pretty strong. He played Addison last week because he needed a game before the Premier League match as he'd been out with COVID. But, he did say, as did Pep Linders, that this is Kelleher's competition. So I don't see him not playing Kelleher tomorrow, which is a massive call in a semi-final of a domestic cup, which is on a knife edge. So interesting to see who gets the nod in goal. Other than that, I would expect a pretty strong team on the pitch. There might be one or two in there, maybe a Morton, someone like that. But I would hope, semi-final of a cup, massive chance to get to Wembley. I would want to go as strong as possible.
Yeah, I think so as well. I would expect them to go as strong as possible because ultimately you want to go into that game and you want to win that fixture. It's a chance to get to the final, like you said. The key question for me is, can Jota and Firmino coexist in the lineup together? I don't think they can because they both want to occupy similar positions. Obviously, I appreciate Firmino does a lot more dropping deep than Jota, although we saw that in Jota's game in the last fixture against Brentford, where he was dropping into those deeper positions and allowing Firmino to float in behind. I just don't know if it works. But we don't have any choice because we have limited options in attack at this point of the season, with obviously Salah and Mane being away. I hate to labour the point. Liverpool, they've surely got to do something to address this situation. Are we going to dip into the market? We discussed it on Transfer Tuesday yesterday, and we've kind of come to the conclusion it's a fat no. But I do feel that we're putting ourselves into a bigger problem than it needs to be, and certainly on the fact that you're saying this is Kelleher's fixture. I appreciate that, and obviously show every single faith in young players. He's proved that he can perform at the standard, but this is a semi-final. We may not have a better chance than we have now to lift some silverware,
hands down,
in this season.
Yeah.
As I said before, my focus as a fan is, yes, winning Premier League titles, back-to-backs, doubles, trebles, all of that is absolutely fantastic. But I want to be able to look back on the Klopp era and turn around and say, we won 7 or 8 trophies under Jurgen Klopp. We won 10 trophies under Jurgen Klopp. We cannot, as fans and as a club, afford to let this moment pass us by, because Jurgen Klopp is not going to be here forever. If he can leave Mainz to go to Dortmund, and if he can leave Dortmund to take sabbaticals and go to Liverpool, what makes us so special? Klopp will leave one day, whether that's in 2024, whether it's in 2025, 2026, 2028, whenever that may be, there will be a time where that man puts the screen down on his laptop, walks out of that office for the final time, and that will be a very sad moment and poignant moment in Liverpool Football Club history. And we want to look back on the memories fondly to say, while that man was at the club, we won fucking everything.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? If you look at this week in terms of fixtures, in terms of importantness, what's the bigger game here? Semi-final of a cup competition that we've not won for ages and have got a big chance of winning. So it's Arsenal and Chelsea to win this game, or Palace. Yes, Premier League is more important, but if we draw against Palace, are we going to be coming first, second, third? We're most, whatever the result against Palace, we're on for second place, really, aren't we? Let's be fair. If we won every game to the end of the season, could we catch Man City? Are they going to drop 8 points between then and now? Maybe. So, ideally, yes, we'd like to win both, but I would go strong in this Arsenal game. Whoever is ready to play in that Palace game, it is Crystal Palace. They're not quite as good as Arsenal currently this season. So I look at this game, big semi-final, big chance. Like you say, if you get to the end of the Klopp here and you go, do you know what? You only won a couple of trophies. Yes, they were the big two, but it feels like a little bit of a missed chance, missed opportunity. And you wouldn't want to look back at those games and say, do you know what? We had players like Addison available, and he went with Kelleher. And as much as I back Kelleher, he was a hero in the penalty shootout against Leicester as well. Yeah. You don't start playing your backup players on purpose in semi-finals of cup competitions. If we get to the final, is he going to play Kelleher against Chelsea? We really need to start saying, we're Liverpool FC. We need to start winning some silverware, whether that's the Carabao Cup or the Champions League. So I'm totally in agreement with you. I would go strong as possible. Thank you, Quivine. But do you know what? Alisson is now in this game, in this team, because we need him. We've got FA Cup games coming up against Cardiff. I think that's on the 6th of Feb. Kelleher, you'll be straight into that game. Don't you worry about that, my son. So, yeah, we need to go as strong as possible. But in terms of Jota and Bobby play together, I'd say if everybody's available, ideally we wouldn't want to, because I think both of them best play in a number 9 role. But like you say, at the moment, Jota has to play there. Oh, 3-1.
Consolation for what looks like a consolation for Brentford, and Ivan Toney jumps on the score sheet. He's had a little bit of a barren spell, hasn't he?
Yes,
Ivan Toney, but still coming up from the Championship. He's rose through the leagues, and he's delivering in games for Brentford. End of the day, the Premier League is a difficult league to come into. By any stretch of imagination, for him to even be scoring in the Premier League is absolutely fantastic as well. So there's no slur on his name for not contributing every single week. Ultimately, you're playing against the best defenders, or some of the best defenders in world football. So you have to respect what he's doing. But could we see a similar fight back from Brentford to a 3-3, or and a similar capitulation from Manchester United? We will wait to see. I fucking hope so. But we will wait to see. You're right. There's a lot of football that Quivin can play. There is a lot of football. His season isn't over, or isn't defined by the amount of appearances he's going to make in this particular cup competition. I just feel from a Liverpool perspective that we should be entering into this game with every kind of intentions of putting Arsenal to the sword. Do I think that Quivin is capable of keeping a clean sheet at Arsenal? Yes, I do. But do I want to chance it when I've got Alisson Becker available and fit on the bench?
No.
Could Quivin play against Palace? Probably. What game would I rather put him into of the two? I'd rather play him against Palace.
That's what I'm saying. Like you say, versus each match, the Arsenal game is the one you need to go stronger in. And Ali makes a good point in the comments that it's not an international break, but it's a winter break in the Premier League. So we have got a bit of time off after this week. They are professional footballers. The Christmas period hasn't been anywhere near as relentless as it normally is with breaks, with COVID. The Leeds game was cancelled, the first leg of this one. So why can't, yes, there's some 30-year-olds in there. Yes, they might not be able to play 180 minutes this week, but we should be able to go strong against Arsenal and Palace, and we really should be winning both games this week, shouldn't we?
I totally agree, and I think, like I said, the question I'm posing is if you do have to rotate, because I'm a firm believer in rotation, I think it's the right thing. It does save legs. It does make us more competitive across the board in all fixtures. But surely you're looking at this going, Palace, they're not going to pose the same sort of threat that an Arsenal front line is going to pose. There you go, Quivin. There's a Premier League game. Knock yourself out.
I don't think why not, because he had to before. Alisson was injured a couple of times last season.
He played against Watford when we went to Watford.
Yeah, he had to come in and he had to play, like you say.
He done very well. He done very well.
They were back late, weren't they, from a Brazil international, and he had to come in. So he's played Premier League games. It's not like he's just the cup guy. He's come through. It was backup. It was fourth choice. He's third choice. Now he's second choice because he's earned it. He's played better than Adrian. He's played better than Karius. He's played better than anyone else that we've had as a backup player. So by all means, why not? Why not say, do you know what? It's a big semi-final. Ali played the first leg. It feels like it's half time. They keep using it. It's half time. Well, okay. Well, Alisson is going to play the second half then, isn't he, in this game? And Kelleher, do you know what? Let's give you the Palace one. But personally, I'd give Ali both games. I'd give Van Dijk both games. Matip or Konate, not too bothered. Tsimikas or Robertson, not too bothered. Trent plays both. Bit of rotation in the midfield isn't too much of an issue. Whether it's Ox, whether it's Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, Jones, and then you pick whatever front three you can, which looks like, again, Jones, Ox, Minamino with a Bobby or a Jota. So I think that 14, 15 players can play, the majority of the next two fixtures, and I hope we can get 2 victories.
Yeah, I do too. So that brings us nicely on to the next part of this show. I mean, score predictions.
Yeah.
Because we've got to win this, haven't we? We've got, like, there's no other outcome. I don't want to be going into a penalty shootout. I don't want to be going into extra time. I don't
Yeah.
want to be even chancing any of that bollocks. I just want to put these fuckers to the sword. So, I mean, I'll let you take it away first because I did last time. So I'll let you go first.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, for me at Anfield, the die was cast early doors. Arsenal were damage limitation from the 28th, 29th minute, and they parked the bus, and that's something we struggled against. But in this game, Arsenal are at home. You can't park the bus for 90 minutes, and well, I mean, you can if you want to go towards a penalty shootout. Maybe that is what
they practically did.
Yeah. So if they do it again, it could be penalties. But I would expect Arsenal to have a little bit more of a go with 11 men at home in a semi-final. So it should be a bit more helpful for Liverpool. We saw the game against Brentford at the weekend. We mentioned in our preview show that Brentford aren't a team that park the bus. They are going to come out and try and get a result. And unfortunately, you get results like this. You lose 3-0 to Liverpool, you lose 3-1 to Man United, but at least you're trying. You're not just trying to park the bus and lose anyway. So I expect a better game. Arsenal-Liverpool usually is full of goals. I know it wasn't in the last game, but I look at Arsenal, you say who's going to get the goals for Liverpool? Who's going to get the goals for Arsenal? They've had a week off, yes, but Aubameyang's out of the picture. Obviously,
Martinelli.
Potentially, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Lacazette, but none of them are consistent starters, let alone goal scorers. Smith Rowe comes in the team, out the team, so it's a tricky one to say. So I would hope that we have enough. The likes of Jota, Henderson. He's very good at linking up play. I know he's not got Salah to pass to this time, but Bobby Firmino likes to go against Arsenal. So score prediction wise, I think we'll sneak through. Whether it goes to extra time or not, I don't know, but I would hope that we can get the job done in 90 minutes, maybe 2-1, something like that. I'll go for, because usually the cup games are a bit more open, and especially in the semi-final. If you're not going to go for it now, when are you really?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I do worry though, because I look at Arsenal's forward line that they could potentially put out in this fixture: Martinelli, Odegaard, Lacazette, Smith Rowe, Saka. They've got players in Nketiah. Is it Nketiah?
Yeah.
Nketiah, who loves a goal in this competition as well. They've got players that can hurt us. And at the moment, I feel they've got more attacking options than we do. But I feel that we've got a decent enough defence to handle them. And I think that we've got a better attack up against their defence, if you get what I'm saying. So it's a tough one.
It is.
It is a real tough one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 to... actually, no. 2-1 to Liverpool.
Copycat.
I think... No, I just think that I don't think we're going to have enough to stop them from scoring.
Yeah.
To be fair, and that's my concern.
I think it'll be very close. I think we will edge it. But semi-finals of cup competitions, especially second leg with a place at Wembley on the cards against. If it was against Man City in the final, I don't think we'd be quite as excited because they're that is their competition. But Chelsea are in a little bit of turmoil at the minute. I know the final's not till the end of February, but this is a big opportunity for Liverpool to go and win a competition that they've won more than anybody else. It would be a record if they won it this season, and it's a competition that we've not won for 10 years. So yes, it's great to put all your eggs in one basket and focus on the Prem or focus on the Champions League and manage to win them both. But as you say, at some point, this squad and this team has got to evolve and say, we've got to take whatever we can get our hands on. If that's the League Cup and the FA Cup this season, so be it. If it's the League Cup and the Champions League, fantastic. So, yeah, if we lose this game, if we go out tomorrow night, it's going to feel like a big missed opportunity, because then you've got FA Cup. We're not going to go strong too early in that. We've got Cardiff, but we've seen Liverpool slip up in that competition numerous times, Northampton, etc., etc. So then you're looking at the Champions League, and there's no guarantees you can win that either. So, like you said at the start, Liverpool's best opportunity to win a trophy based on where we are right now. So let's give it all we've got.
Yeah, and like you're saying, if we if we ended this season, and I've said this before, with a cup and a Champions League, that's huge success.
Massive, yeah. Just the Champions League would be fine.
Do you know what? I want more. I want. It has to be that and something else. We need a double because we've done the Champions League, yeah. So we need a double. We have to have a double. Like I just feel like we're not setting unrealistic expectations now. Like I said, it's a case of this is the biggest era or the best era in the club that I've ever seen, that we've ever seen in our time as Liverpool fans, that the majority of our younger fan base have ever seen. We have to take advantage of that. Because if we don't, we're going to be sat here in 10, 15 years, you and I going, yeah, that Jurgen Klopp man was fucking amazing. How did we not win more trophies? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what? And we already have it with the Benitez era in the club. We all look back at that period and go, how did we not have 2 Champions Leagues? How did we not have more cup success?
Yeah.
How the hell did we not win a Premier League in that era?
No, I agree. And weirdly, that the success between Benitez and Klopp both came, fairly early on to mid, because Benitez's first season Champions League, second season FA Cup. Then we started to go close to the Premier League, but won nothing else. Jurgen Klopp walked into a mess, sorted us out, won the Champions League, won the league. He said if he's here till 2024 and he wins nothing else majorly until the end of his contract, that's a long time of not winning anything with this team. Everybody's meant to have been getting new contracts and rewarded, and we've got the best players in the world in their positions. But I agree with you. It's one of them. If we win another Champions League and Jurgen Klopp leaves having won 2 Champions Leagues in a Prem, I would take that as success. But you look at Manchester City. I think if you win a Premier League title and a cup, it's great. But the Champions League for me, it would be enough in one season. If you won the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, that would be good. I think you need one extra with one of those to make it a successful season. But I think a Prem or a Champions League on its own is enough for me. But I agree with you. The next step is to start winning doubles and trebles. But I just don't think we're ever going to get there with this model. I really don't.
I want to be able to look back on this era and say, as we look at it, we won something on average at least once a year.
Yeah.
That's the averages I'm looking for. We won something on average at least once a year. At least once a year, we were lifting something.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of fucking catching up to do.
We have.
Do you see what I'm saying? So this is why we got a lot of catching up to do. And finals and runners-ups don't count. We got a lot of fucking catching up to do. So, as far as I'm concerned, we need to be on to doubles right now. This team is not going to be together for much longer. They're hitting that 30-something mark. How much more can we get out of the team? This team. The time is now. And I sit here and I say very fucking openly, had we not had the injury hit season that we had last year, we were retaining that Premier League. We were that much better with a full strength squad than everybody else. We were better up until when we got the injuries. We were wiping the floor with everybody, and then the injuries kicked in. So you can't sit here and constantly blame that. But we would have retained. I look at the football we were playing up until then. No one was near to us. No one was near. Now, yes, Manchester City take a little bit of time to get into their stride. I understand that, and I take that on board. But at the same time, we looked that good.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't bulletproof last season, were they, Manchester City?
No, they weren't. So we were that good. We looked that good up until that. Do you know what? Fuck it. Even past that, even heading into January, we still looked all right heading into January.
Gomez and Matip holding the fort, and then, like you say, once we lost those guys, we were in big trouble.
It fell to absolute shit. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think we're now at the stage where we need to be doing doubles. A cup double this year. The Premier League is still there to be played for. We win our games in hand. We're 8 points behind. We still got to play Manchester City as well. So we win our games in hand. We're 8 points behind. We beat Manchester City. It's 5 points. Yeah. It's more achievable than we think it is. We're still in this title race. Yeah. but we're relying on a little bit of help from our friends, and we don't have many. So
We are.
we're
I mean,
relying on a little bit of help from our
I'll pose a
friends.
question to you. Say Klopp leaves in 2024. How many domestic cups is better than one Champions League? So say we win the Champions League this season, and that's it for Klopp. Or say between now and 2024, he wins an FA Cup or 2 FA Cups and 2 Carabao Cups. What are you taking out of that? What's the balance for you? What's it worth? Because for me, I would take a Champions League over 2 FA Cups and 2 Carabao Cups every day of the week.
Yes, big ears is the, and the reason why you say that is because you're a Liverpool fan. That's why you say that.
It's true.
Because we're synonymous with Europe.
Yeah.
That's of the Premier League teams or the teams in England, that competition belongs to one club, and that's us. We've been flying the flag for these shitty fucking English sides for however many decades. We've been flying the flag.
Was it Arsenal, Spurs, and City combined? 0.
That's what I'm saying. We've been flying the flag, and Chelsea aren't close. Manchester United aren't close when it comes to Europe.
5 for those two.
Yeah, and we've got 6 on our own.
Absolutely.
So we've been flying the flag for these English teams for a long, long time. So yes, you would say that in terms of Europe, because it's the only thing that we've really been able to use as a comeback to the whole Premier League title slur.
Yeah.
Where we've got the most Champions Leagues. You don't know about winning Champions League. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yes, for a Liverpool fan, Europe is the holy grail.
Yeah.
Same as for Manchester City, the Premier League is the holy grail. They would swap a Champions League for a Premier League all day long.
Yeah, they would do.
They would swap it all day long. Same as we would swap if we had more Premier League. Say we had 3 Prems, you'd swap one of those out for a Champions League. You would, because you're a Liverpool fan. You look at it very different. Yeah, you look at it very, very different. So for me, I don't want to sacrifice anything. I want fucking all of it. Why can't we turn around and win Champions League this year and win a cup? That is fantastic success.
Yeah, brilliant.
We win the Champions League and we win the League Cup. Go again next year, boys. You win the Premier League and you win the Premier League next year, and you win an FA Cup or a League Cup.
Yeah.
The following year, you might get pushed a little bit hard. So you do a cup double. Yeah, we'll take FA Cup and League Cup. The year after that, you go again, Champions League and a League Cup. We need to be coming for more of that slice of the pie. City have done it. They've done Premier League and Cup.
Couldn't agree more. So
why can't we do it? That's how we're going to be defined as a great team. That's how we're going to be defined as that's how the Klopp era will be defined as a great team, because you've got Chelsea fans running their mouths going, if Thomas Tuchel wins this again and he breaks the Klopp era, shut the fuck up.
He's not even going to be there by this time next season, I don't think.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So the only way you dispense that stupid bullshit from Chelsea fans and actually going out as a club and doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that is putting the trophy numbers, the trophy haul on the board. That's what people are going to look at. They're going to look at our trophy haul. We're a big club. So all that ever happens is you look at that trophy haul and go, fucking hell, Jurgen Klopp added 10 to that.
That Champions Wall, you want to see what it was when he walked in the door and what it was when he left.
Exactly. That's what it needs to be. You need to see a significant improvement on that wall of champions.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot harder in the Premier League era than it was before. You know, and this is no discredit to one of the greatest managers to ever be involved in the game, in Sir Alex Ferguson, but it was a little bit easier at that point in terms of the amount of points that you needed to win the league. Not in terms of easy in regards to the teams that you were playing, because it was hard based on that time. But the points per games ratio that you needed at the point to win a Premier League is far, far different to what you need to win a Premier League this year, because you've got Manchester City in there, you've got Liverpool, you've got Chelsea, you've got teams which are more competitive, more world-class managers in the league than ever before. At the time when Fergie was there, it was only really him and Wenger for a period of time. Then Mourinho joined the party.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mid-90s to 2010 era where Fergie kind of stepped down and finished off 15 odd years. They were the richest club for ages before Abramovich came in. Arsene Wenger came in and did things slightly differently. He brought in players like Petit, Vieira, players that weren't going to cost them an arm and a leg, but he could develop, and that was a very different way of doing things. And Arsenal did get the better of Man United a couple of times, but ultimately United would win 3 out of the 5, 4 out of the 6, and that's why they got so much success, because there was only really one rival. And even when there was one rival, you look at some of the money that United splashed around, at the time was ridiculous. Veron, Ferdinand, some of the players they brought in for the fees, but some of them flops, but way ahead of its time. And there was only one kind of team to compete with. And like you say, even when Abramovich came in with Chelsea, again, it was Man U v Chelsea, and Chelsea got some success, but United continued to spend. Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, Berbatov, they got success as well. And like you say, now you need 90-something points minimum to get close. You've got City dominating. You've got Chelsea always going to be coming back at it. Liverpool, Leicester won the league a couple of years ago. So it's more competitive than ever. And to actually win the league, like you say, you've got to keep on spending or have a serious team and just keep going. You've got to be relentless. You've got to be almost perfect to win the league now. So I agree with you. I think it was easier. It was an easier period. It was a dominant period. No one could get near Man United. And nowadays, we're competing with one of the most dominant, richest forces in the sport, that the sport's ever seen.
Exactly. And then you've got the addition of a Newcastle that are now, and they're on there. And again, you can't sit here and deny it. They're on their way. Obviously there's some way off in terms of the project, but they're on their way. So that adds another one to the mix that you've got to bloody complete with an embarrassment of riches, so that they are on their way, and you can only sit and say that's the case. It's another one that you're going to have to compete with. Eventually they'll get a world-class manager. Eventually they'll be in for decent players. You might not turn around and say they'll compete at the top end for all the world-class players, but they'll be in there looking at decent players. They'll potentially be fishing in a similar pond to the Arsenals, the Spurs, the Manchester Uniteds of this world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then eventually they'll be fishing in the same pond as the Manchester Cities and the Liverpools and the Chelseas of this world.
Doesn't take long. But I'd agree with this comment. But it's tough, isn't it? Because Klopp's lost the Champions League final. He's missed out on the league title by, the last day. We should have won that league title when John Stones clears it off the line. We're almost back to back, undefeated, champions of England. So if he'd have won another Champions League and a league title, we'd be talking about Klopp in the same breath as some of the top managers we've ever seen in this club. And he is very much so the best manager that we've seen. But when you start saying what did he do compared to Paisley and Fagan and Shankly, if he'd have won another one of each of these, or maybe he will before he leaves, then you can start to put him in that conversation. So I totally agree with you. If we look back in 10, 15 years at this Klopp era and this is it, this is what he's won and it's no more, I will be slightly disappointed. Yeah.
I still think you can put him in that era, in that you can still talk about him in that same sentence as a Liverpool fan, because he's done something that over many years, many have tried and many have tried and many have failed. If you look at it from a perspective of we look at Kenny Dalglish, last manager to lift other than Klopp, to lift a divisional title. After him, we had, who came after Kenny?
Souness.
There's likes of Souness, Roy Evans, Houllier, Benitez, Hodge, fucking stupid face, Hodgkinson.
Rodgers.
After him, Rodgers. After Rodgers, we're now at Klopp. So we've had quite a few managers. To be fair, do you know what? We've done all right in terms of amount of managers we've had. We've not been chopping, changing. We've
not
been
too bad. Only Hodgson.
We've been all right in terms of managers, but we've had a couple of managers. None of them has been able to do what Jurgen Klopp was able to do, which was win a Premier League title. He's a legend. Look, there you go, Daddy Pig. Klopp is a legend already. The things he's done with peanuts and transfer budget, as at this rate, I won't be shocked if he walks on water. Again, I agree. He's been able to do some fantastic things, But just to put that icing on top of the cake, I need a little bit more. And this isn't me criticizing Jurgen Klopp, because I love that man. He's given us something that we never thought we'd ever see. We'd all kind of got to a point where we're like, yeah, fuck it, we're never going to win the league, so let's just keep winning Champions Leagues.
Absolutely.
Because that's why you think about Champions League being up there.
Yeah.
Because you kind of resigned yourself to the fact that we would almost never win it. But you know, I just don't want to look back on this era as a Liverpool fan and turn around and go, fuck, we should have won more.
Yeah. Hopefully tomorrow night will be the start of another one.
I hope so too. Guys, that brings us to the end of the Arsenal Liverpool preview show. Thank you for joining us. If you're not already, please like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that the Red Sea podcast have got going on. What have we got coming up for the rest of the week?
I'm glad you asked, because this conversation and comment were going in a nice way to what I wanted to talk about, finishing off our tier lists over the winter break. So Allier's in there, Shanks, Highland, Paisley, etc., etc. Where does Klopp feature? So we're going to be finishing off our tier list series. If you've not seen them before, we started over at Never a Foul. So if you go and have a look at the playlists over there, we've got lots of tier lists. We went through all the positions from goalkeeper to striker, ranking all the players where they should be. We've got one more striker tier list to finish off. The first two are on the Red Sea podcast channel, and we've got a managers one, which is going to be fantastic as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's going to be coming up over the next couple of weeks. We've got Arsenal Red Sea full time tomorrow. We have got Crystal Palace preview on Saturday evening, Crystal Palace Red Sea full time, AFCON on Monday, Transfer Tuesday, and then as I say, we'll probably get into the tier list after that.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't seen the tier list shows, they're absolutely fantastic. Good fun, good banter. We always get a bit tucked into a couple of the players, and again, we'll probably get tucked into a couple of managers as well. Yeah. But yes, thank you for joining us on this preview show. I've been Thiago's father. This has been SS. We are over and we are out.